Welcome, ladies and gents. We're in a top secret bunker in a secret location, and these are some of my bikes, if you're interested. This one is probably my favourite. This is the bike that I rode at the TT in, when did we have the TT? We didn't get it in 2020, did we?
2019.
2019 TT on this bike. Bought it pretty much especially for that. Bought it as a standard road bike, and
was it a press bike?
It wasn't a press bike. It was one of the guys in the head office at KTM who used it as his road bike, and it had done
KTM.
KTM for the sake. The other one beginning with a K.
It's got orange on it, but
yeah. Well, that's what must have thrown me. So yeah, one of the guys at Kawasaki had it as a road bike, and it had only done about 1,000 miles. So I got,
got it cheap.
But it wasn't that cheap, but it was cheaper than a brand new one would have been, and it was as good as a brand new one because really it was just nicely running. So we got it and stripped it. We didn't take the engine out. This engine hasn't actually been out of this bike, but it's had suspension, Maxton suspension.
I'll tell you what, I love Maxton suspension. I know a few of your bikes have Maxton, but
yeah.
I love the fact that Magic Rich is on the end of the phone if you need him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and I think it's as good, if not better, than the gold stuff. I really do.
Yeah, I do. It's not as, I don't think it's as fashionable.
No, that's the thing. It's not gold, is it?
No, but for this bike and for the TT, I genuinely think you're not going to do any better, especially because I can phone Rico at Maxton up and say, it's my bike's doing this. What do I do? And he's usually got some reasonable advice.
And Maxton are kind of road specialists, aren't they? Really?
Yeah. They do a lot of stuff for road racing bikes, and they're really popular with the classic bikes. Yeah. So you go to any classic race meetings, and there's a lot of them. If they've got anything, and it's Maxton. So it's top stuff.
So the engine's stock, completely stock?
The engine's stock, yeah, but it has got kit, ECU and loom on it.
So what's it making on the dyno?
We've had this on when we got the electronics set up. We took it down to MSS to put it on their dyno, and I was hoping for 200 plus, but it made 199.8. So we even sort of pumped the back wheel up and pumped the back tyre up and tried to get a little bit more, but it wasn't having it. But yeah, it's 200 brake horsepower, so it's not slow. And to be honest with you, sometimes I think it would be nice to have a little bit more power, but actually for the TT, because it's hard work. Like yourself, it's hard work around the TT. You don't the sort of pace I've got up to. I don't need any more power just yet, because it's hard enough. Anyone who's ridden a 200 brake horsepower bike as fast as they can, it's hard work, and round there it's even harder because you're fighting the thing the whole time. It's bouncing and bucking and trying to wheelie. So really, I probably wouldn't have gone any faster had I had an extra 10-15 horsepower. And I know some of the other manufacturers can get a bit more power out of the stock bikes, but it's enough. It's fast enough for me.
And it did
126.8 or something like that. So I think
well done, Michael. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. So just shy of 127.
And you got number 19 because that was supposed to be at the Ulster, or you went to the Ulster?
Yeah, no, that was it's number 19 because of the Ulster. Yeah, I rode it as number 19 at the Ulster. I think my start number at the TT for 2020 would have been 27.
Good number, that.
But yeah, good. Yeah, top number.
Yeah.
Casey Stoner. But we didn't get there. So hopefully. Well, it's not going to happen this year. No. Hopefully there'll be some racing in 2022, but it probably won't be on this bike because it's a 2017 bike, so it's not getting any newer, and I'm probably going to have to sell it because if I want to do any racing this year, I'm going to have to find a bit more budget. So it looks like the old girl's going to have to go. So if there's anyone out there who wants to buy a gleaming ZX10
for 30 grand,
holler right at me, because it could be yours for a sweet 13 grand, I reckon.
Oh, 13 grand.
I could do with as close to 15 as possible, but it's one of them things we chatted off camera that a race bike is never worth as much as the sum of its parts.
No.
I mean, there's probably getting towards 30 grand in this, but I'm never going to get 30 grand for it. You could go on some websites and stuff and forums, and there's have you?
I'm just nodding. And,
oh, have you got a problem?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you was having an issue over there. Yeah, we were saying the value of a race bike's never worth the sum of its parts, even though some people try and get 30 grand for a super stock bike.
No chance, mate.
It's just not happening, is it? You see them for sale, don't you? You see a ZX10 super stock bike for sale for 30 grand, and you fall into the trap of thinking, oh, a super stock bike's worth 30 grand. Well, it's not. They just never sell it. So yeah, I reckon towards 15 grand. If I got 13 for it, that would mean I could go and
fund
yeah.
Boothy's racing.
Yeah. I need some money. The plan this year is to race in the Endurance World Championship. So there's
and the Free Tech 125
and the Free Tech 125. Yeah. So if we're going to do any endurance racing this year, we need to get some cash in. So yeah, looks like she might have to go. But it'd be a shame to sell it, because it's like anything. Like anyone who's ever sold a bike will know the pain that seeing someone else load your bike into the back of the van and taking it away. It's heart-wrenching. Even though I've only had it 2 years now, I think. You become attached,
don't you? Of course you do,
you become attached, and especially when you race it somewhere like the TT.
I was going to say, there must be some sort of real bond with this. I mean, to do that lap, to do 126 on a stock bike is fair play. So that was a senior.
That was a senior race.
So what did you do on super stock?
Speed wise?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Don't know.
Don't remember yesterday.
Yeah. And to be fair, the only difference between the bike, it's the exact same bike that I ride in the super stock and senior, apart from the tyres. We'll put slick tyres on for the senior race. And to be honest, I'm not quite up to the pace yet where actually slicks are going to make much difference around the TT course. It's different on a short circuit because you're properly pushing and pulling, and the TT you kind of, or me, at the pace I'm going, you sort of rolling around corners a bit more rather than screwing the power on really hard. The lads at the front doing 135 mile an hour laps, they're riding it like a short circuit, but
there's only a few of them there, isn't there? There's only a few that are doing that.
Yeah. I'm not ready to do that. It's a little bit too scary.
So what's behind you?
This is my other TT bike. So this is the Triumph 675 Daytona. This doesn't belong to me. It belongs to a sponsor of mine. But we can't tell his missus that he bought it. That's why it lives here. So we share this. He rides it on track days.
Has he actually ridden it?
Yes, but he's not ridden it as much as I've ridden it. It's just, with the past year we've had, no one's ridden anything much, and he's a busy guy, so he doesn't get out on it much. But it's got a fairly standard engine. Well, it has got a standard engine. It's been refreshed it got refreshed for last year, but we didn't use it, so it's stood there doing just about nothing. All-in suspension in this one, which I've never really used, other than this bike. I've never really raced on all-in suspension, so I didn't really know where I was with it, how it needed to be set up, and because I'm not much of a 600 rider, it was a bit of I had to start again a little bit with this. So
but it's a joy to ride around there, though, isn't it?
It's awesome, absolutely love it. But I'm not very good on it. I'm nowhere near as competitive on the 600 as I am on the big bike. And to be honest, it did get to a point where, because it is just a stock motor, it's not really fast enough to be. It's all right for me because I'm not really competitive on it anyway. But if I wanted to start pushing on and getting better results on it, then we'd have to do a bit more work to the engine. But in all fairness, that's mainly used to just help doing more laps. The main bike is the 1000, because that's the one that I've stand half a chance of getting a reasonable result. And I think I was 29th on that, something like that. Whereas the big bike, I was 14th in 2019. So we're getting a lot nearer the front on that one. But we'll Yeah, we'll get there. One day I'll learn how to ride a 600. When I used to race the 600s as a youngster, I just crashed them all the time. So I've not crashed this one yet, but
I was going to say, this is a good chance to tell you the one and only story that we have in common, really, the TT story we have in common. Was obviously 2016 was our first year.
Yeah.
And we rocked up as newcomers, and obviously I was only doing the Super Twins, but you were doing everything, weren't you?
Not the Super,
everything but
1000s and 600, yeah.
And Boothy, you had a bit of a reputation for stacking it, didn't you?
Yeah, I was a bit of a crasher.
And there was a few people who were like, oh, you know.
Yeah.
Is he doing the right thing going on the roads?
We looked at, well, I wanted to do the TT when I was about 20. And I talked to a few people about it, went over there to look at it, and had very brief discussions with a few teams about it, and the sort of consensus of opinion was I'd kill myself, because I was probably faster back then than I was when I went and did the TT, but I would crash all the time. It was win it or bin it, and
that doesn't make you a good TT rider.
Exactly, no.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have gone there. I wouldn't have gone there with the same amount of respect for the course. And when I did race there in 16, I spent the sort of year leading up to it properly studying the course, and I'd go over there once a month for 6 months before it and just do laps in a car, and I knew where I was going. If I'd have raced there when I was 20, I wouldn't have bothered. I'd have just turned up and thought I was really big bollocks. And it's definitely something to do when you're a little bit older, and you only have to look at the people like John McGuinness and Anstey and Rutter. Yeah, they're still
50 years old.
Yeah, they're still as fast as fuck. Certainly faster than me. So it's not one of them things that you've got to be super fit for and like sharp and on the. Obviously, you've got to be sharp, but not. It's not like short. It's so different to short circuit racing. It's almost a different sport, isn't it?
But yeah, so this story then. So we did our first TTs back in 2016. Boothy was a little bit loose, or I'd seen him and I heard he was a bit loose and bit of a reputation for crashing, which is, I think it's fair to say, isn't it?
Yeah, it was well founded.
And then so you came past me going into Ramsey.
Right.
Obviously, I was on a 100 horsepower super twin. You were on a 200 horsepower superbike, and you just went anyway. So the waterworks is one area where it's one of the corners where Milky says, whatever you do, that will be one place where a newcomer's crashing. That's one corner. Because obviously, when you come out of Ramsey hairpin, you got a fast right, and then you got a slower right, and then you got a much slower right.
And it's a really late apex, isn't it? So if you go in too early, you'll just run wide. You'll run wide and then hit the barrier, and that's exactly what somebody did.
So I came around waterworks, and there was this Kawasaki upside down and an orange bib sort of with his arms in the air flaying. I thought, oh, there's Boothy. And it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't.
On
that occasion, it was someone else. Yeah, and do you know what? It's I think racing at the TT, it just people say things like, oh, you must be mad, you must be nuts to race at the TT, but it's the way I see it is you've got to be a little bit more. If you are nuts and you go and race there, you'll hurt yourself and you'll end up not coming home. Whereas I think it does teach you to think about what you're doing a bit more and respect it. You don't really need to respect a short circuit in the same way, because you just push as hard as you can all the time, especially if you're racing at a reasonable level like BSB or anything above that. If you're not pushing as hard as you can every single lap of every session, you'll be at the back.
So this little beauty here then.
This is my...
Now there's a story behind this, isn't there? There's a lovely story, but it's beautiful.
I was sat in a pub, pissed up, and we got talking about racing in the classic TT. And I thought, that sounds like a brilliant idea. So I looked on eBay and saw this ZXR 750, and thought, I'm going to have it. I think it was currently bidded up to about 400 quid. So I stuck 800 quid in. Anyway, I won it at 600 quid. And I thought, nice one. I found myself a nice little classic TT bike. So I sobered up in the morning and I thought that maybe wasn't such a good idea. And then I went to get it on the whatever day, the Sunday or whatever, and I picked it up, and it was just the biggest pile of shit you've ever seen in your life. Nothing on it worked. It had not been run in years. It barely, the wheel bearings are all chocked up with shite. It would barely roll. So I put it in the van, brought it round to my old man's house for us to have a little bit of a play with and see if we could get it running. Anyway, we got it running, but not very well, and it took lots and lots and lots of work to get it going. And the other part of that story is we got it probably 4 weeks, just under 4 weeks before the Classic TT that the plan was to use it in. So, and one of them weeks we spent at the Ulster Grand Prix as well. So really, we only had like 2 or 3 weeks to get it ready.
Did you not think at the top of Glenclutchery Road, you think, oh my God, is this going to hold together? Is this worth it?
Yeah, a bit.
You know, it's one thing building for a bit of a laugh, building a 600 quid shitter.
I know,
for a road track, for a short circuit.
It probably wasn't a very good idea, to be honest. But but that's what happens when you've drank too much beer, isn't it? So. But
some of the best ideas come pissed.
I think, the best ideas always have a sort of a soupçon of madness attached to them, don't they? But anyway, we got it running and working, and it did work. It wasn't anywhere near as fast as the other bikes, and actually my first lap on it, I only got to the top of Bagara because the wire into the coils just broke down. So the first night wasn't very good. And because the weather was crap the whole Classic TT week or fortnight, we barely got any laps on it. So I think in practice week I'd done about 3.5 laps, and the race was 4 laps. So I had no idea how it was going to hold together. Anyway, we finished the race and it's a good job we finished the race as well, because the ferry was booked about 20 minutes after or the ferry was sailing 20 minutes after the race. So I came over the line. If I'd have broken down on the other side of the island, that would have been it. We would have had to get a different ferry. But I crossed the line, straight into Parc Fermé. I thought I was going to get disqualified because I'd just like barged my way out, threw it in the van and got on the ferry. But it was a bit of a close shave. We also thought that because we put Maxton suspension on it, we've raised the ride height with the longer linkage. It's altered the geometry of the back wheel and stuff, so it's meant that the line that the chain runs on slices through the swinging arm.
Genius.
So we had to every session we did, or every time we went out on the bike, we had to replace the chain guard because it was just cutting through them. Now it's back. My dad's cut a chunk out of the swinging arm and welded it back up, so hopefully we shouldn't have that problem now. But I don't know, because it's been 2 years since this has really turned a wheel. There isn't really much you can do on a bike like this other than the Classic TT, or go and race it in a sort of golden era class. And
we should wheel it out. Let's wheel it out for a Thundersport meeting.
Yeah, we maybe should. Yeah. Get it thrown back together. But I think with the Classic TT being cancelled, like the big bikes, because things keep getting cancelled, we've lost the urgency with it.
Yeah.
When you know when you need it for, even if you don't think you can get it, like the first time, even if it's impossible, you make it happen because that's just what you do, isn't it? But it's slowed down. But perhaps we'll. I think if we book something, let's book something. And then we might get our fingers out then. There's a few parts I need to pick up for it just to finish it off and make these. We didn't run these carbs at the TT because we've not got them running properly yet, but there's a few bits we need to pick up. But we'll get there. And it should be reasonable. We put it on the dyno when we got back from the Classic TT, and it made, was it 93 brake horsepower? Something like that. And that was very standard. So I reckon it'd be over 100 now.
Wow, might have to wheel out against the S-Rad and the ZX7R.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be a good fight, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Well, I think you'll win.
It's actually a really nice bike to ride. It's a bit like the 600 around the TT because it's not trying to kill you. Yeah, exactly. The 1000, it's just hard work. It's good fun, but it's hard work. Whereas this, like you've got time to think. You know, the corners don't come up so fast, and it's a bit lighter. And I don't think I would have liked to have ridden one the way they were in sort of, you know, when they were new, with brakes that don't really work and crap suspension. But yeah, it's nice.
What's this little dungeon in here then?
This is
Michael?
my favourite room.
Oh, nice clock, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is where we keep the dirt bikes.
Oh my God. Ready for E1.
They're 2 CR250s and a little gas trials bike. When I got the motocross bike, I used to use it loads and loads, and over the past sort of 3 years, since I've got older and more worn out,
more injured,
yeah, the trials bike seems to get a lot more usage.
It's funny that's what happens in life, isn't it?
Yeah. I struggle to get my leg high enough to climb over a motocross bike now, so the trials bike's good fun. I remember the first time I rode a trials bike, I thought, this will be rubbish, too slow, not
brilliant
interested.
fun, isn't it?
Oh, it's awesome.
I've got there's two motorsport categories now I have the utmost respect for, and that is rally driving and trials riders, because especially Tony Bow makes every other world-class trial rider look like an absolute it's hard.
Beyond, I don't understand how he can do that. It's beyond trials riding, isn't it? Yeah. It's not like riding
beyond
over.
physics.
It's not riding over rocks and stuff. It's going from that rock over there to that rock over there without touching the ground. Yeah, I don't do that.
Talking of, how's your scars looking?
Yeah, all right.
They're accessible.
Yeah, I reckon so. I reckon if I take me boot off, I need to wear very supportive shoes these days. So it's me RST socks there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's
so that's a lot meatier, and it's there's quite a lot of swelling still.
Yeah, it looks like it.
But it's more rather than sort of normal injury swelling. I think it's swelling from the operation when they've gone in and
badgered it.
Yeah, they've done a good job because it's held together really well. But I think it'll take a long time. It's scar tissue inside the body. I think scar tissue of muscles rather than. Swelling is just like fluid normally, isn't it? So I think it'll take a while to go down, but I can get shoes on, I can get boots on.
As I say, more importantly, you can get a bike boot on.
I can get a bike boot on,
ready to ride,
and I've got quite a lot of movement in the old ankle now. It's still not 100%, and it's
like
still
a ballerina.
Yeah. I can do the old. I think that'd be a mistake if I tried to do that. But yeah, it's nearly there.
Let's go and ride some bikes.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's rock.
Yeah.
There's a wheel.
Yeah.
It's not a wheel anymore.
What happened there, Nige?
I think this was Silverstone.
You think?
I think it was Silverstone. Well, I've crashed that many times. You lose count. The spindle's not coming out, I don't think. But yeah, that wrote off an entire ZX10. And I think the frame off that bike. Oh shit!
What was that?
I think it was a T-bar falling down or something. Sorry about it. I think this is the frame off the bike. I snapped them off, and we had them welded back on because we didn't have a spare frame that weekend. So we went and got them welded.
Who welded that?
We found a bloke in Nottingham, I think, somewhere. He put it in his jig, welded it back up, and but he got it a little bit pissed up. So when we got the bike back, we got it back for the morning, and I'd not qualified very well because I'd crashed. So to start from the back of the grid on a bike that was like a chopper, the arse end of it was really low down, and it was one of the worst handling bikes I've ever ridden in my life. And I think I finished that race at the back of the entire grid. It snapped that off as well. So we've had to glue the lock stop back on. Really, it needed to go in the scrap heap, but we didn't have another frame that weekend. So.
And that swing arm's pretty bad as well, isn't it?
It's all of the insides cracked here and here. So you're not going to fix that, I don't think. That's one for the scrap man. We had to get the spindle out with a sledgehammer. But that, ladies and gents, is what happens when you crash motorbikes. So let that be a lesson to you. Be very careful.